Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. No one likes it when their peace is disturbed, especially at 6 a.m. Let's see how our characters handled the situation. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Nothing I can do about it? My wife and I lived in the top half of a duplex condo next to another identical one. One morning at 6:30 on the dot, we hear incredibly loud banging and thumping on metal sound. I get up, stick my head out the bedroom window, and see the neighboring building, 6 feet away, has workmen thumping up the fire escape, setting up scaffolding. I yelled out something like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And their head guy, HG, says a line he obviously prepared. "We're fixing the roof, and we'll be using this fire escape as access. We're allowed to start work at 6:30 a.m., and there's nothing you can do about it." Then he and his crew started setting up scaffolding off the fire escape. I got back into bed, feeling defeated, and explained it to my wife, who said 4 magic words. What about fire code? We rang the local fire marshal and explained to him. He drove around the next day after they'd fully set up and had a heated argument with HG for about 15 minutes. When HG stormed off and told his crew to take all the scaffolding apart, the fire escape was an egress, and by using it and setting up scaffolding, they were obstructing it. After it took them another day to take it all down, and they lost 2 days, after that, we didn't hear them again. Looks like we could do something about it after all. And our second story. We're going to split the bill fairly. To understand this whole story, a bit of information. In my country, every car needs to be approved for road safety. That means every 2 years, it's mandatory that your car gets inspected and approved by an independent inspector. If some requirements are not reached, the car is not allowed to be on the road. Backstory. It all started when I bought my very first owned car. An old seat in excellent condition. It looked a bit rusty, but was running like it was brand new. No technical or mechanical issues. When I bought my car, its license was still valid for another year. Fast forward 1 year. It's time for the next inspection, and I bring my car to the local mechanic to get it checked out. Turns out no major things have to be done, just a new windshield wiper and a recalibration of the handbrake. I passed the inspection with no problems. So now my car can be driven for the next 2 years until a new inspection has to be done. Problem is, 6 months later, I moved out of my parents' home to start studying where I don't need a car. So I say to my parents that my little sister can use the car when she turns 18 next year, but it'd be bad for the car to just stand around. The brakes will rust and the car may not turn on again if it stands still for too long. It's important that they move it once or twice a week just to make sure it keeps working. Remind yourself, the car's older than me. They assure me that they will do it. Spoiler, they don't. Now it's my little sister's 18th birthday. I talk with her about the car and tell her she has to go to the inspection the next month. She just gave me a questioning look and asked, "What do you mean? It's still your car and you're going to pay it, won't you?" Needless to say, she's the spoiled child in the family. I say no, for the next 2 years, you're going to use the car, not me. Why should I be paying for it then? Also, I bought the car and let you use it for free. Shouldn't that be enough already? By now, our mother has heard our conversation and started interrupting. "Creechel, you're going to pay for it. You used it the last 2 years and inflicted the damage to it." By now, I'm livid as F. I try to lower my voice, but still scream in her face, "No, no, no. In the last 2 years, this car's been standing for over 1.5 years on your courtyard under your keeping. I don't see why I should be paying for it." This discussion goes back and forth, and in the end, we settle for this. We're going to split it fairly. My sister now thinks that she's won. For her, fairly means 50-50, but not for me. You see, her main argument was that I was going to use the car too when I'm on a home visit, and she's right, I am using it, but not as much as she thinks. So first of all, I wait for the inspection, and to no surprise, the brakes are totally rusted and have to be replaced because of underuse. So now the mechanic has to make a lot of repairs, more than I would have thought after almost 2 years of no usage. Fast forward to a few days ago. The car's back on the road with new brakes and a license for 2 years. Also, the bill from the mechanic arrived. My sister handed me the bill with a crap-eating grin on her face and said, "We're going to split it, right?" I say, "No, we're going to split it fairly, and this is exactly what we're going to do." She gave me a weird look while I take the bill and start to calculate a bit. You see, as I said before I used the car, when I was on home visit these past 1.5 years, but those whole 2 years, I've only been home 14 times and have only driven the car 12 times. So let's say 8 times per year. That makes 16 times in 2 years, or 730 days. 16 divided by 730 equals 0.02191780821, 2.2%. So I hand her 10 euros and say, "Here, now we've split it up fairly." And our last story. Scream at me until I cry? My dad'll take away your marriage, your home, and your job. After 20 years of marriage, my parents got divorced. It sucked. I was 17 and chose to live with my dad. About a year later, Dad decides to start dating again. He meets this lady who will, oh so creatively, call B-Face. I like B-Face on the spot. She's pretty, she's friendly, she's funny, and we both love Disney movies, cats, and tea. Her kids and grandkids are pretty awesome too. B-Face has a minimum wage job as a stalker at a chain store that uses a bullseye as its logo. She loves this job and refuses to get another. This will be important later. It's a whirlwind courtship, and she and Dad get married after 3 months. I'm iffy on that, but Dad's happy, so I grin and bear it. We move out of our cozy apartment into a nice trailer with B-Face. It's going okay until she decides she wants a dog. Dad doesn't like dogs, and I'm admittedly more of a cat person, but B-Face wants her puppy, and we agree. She goes to the pound and picks the ugliest Chiweenie I've ever seen in my life. Don't get me wrong, I love Chiweenies, but this one looked off. We'll call this dog Cuddlebug, because she was one. The clerk who sold Cuddlebug told Dad and B-Face she was well-behaved, housebroken, and just wonderful. I didn't have a job, so I stayed home taking care of things. That's how I found Cuddlebug was not, in fact, housebroken. She also liked to raid the trash. She didn't like to play either. She was sweet, she liked to run, she liked to cuddle, but that was it. I got tired of cleaning up trash and dog crap and pee in the trailer, so I took B-Face aside and told her nicely what was going on with Cuddlebug. Several times. The nope. Suddenly, B-Face did not find me an ideal roomie. I was admittedly lazy, but rather than take me aside and say, "Lenegrud, quit the bullcrap and do your share of the housework, like a regular sane person," or even resort to a decent revenge, like putting the dirty dishes in my bed, she decides to let the irritation build up until she explodes. Almost literally. Screaming and swearing at me at the absolute top of her B-Face banshee lungs, attacking my personality, my intelligence, and my mental health issues. And there's nothing wrong with her baby. I'm just acting like a spoiled brat because I didn't get to choose the dog myself. Trying to reason with her is pointless. Anything I try to say in my defense, she twists into an attack on her or her precious, fugly, garbage-chomping mutt. The first time I was shocked. The second time on, I started crying. Not noisy sobbing like I was prone to, just terrified, utterly silent tears. One time, I grabbed my purse and ran out of the trailer in a panic because I couldn't take any more of her abuse. My dad is non-confrontational, so he just sat there in silence for the most part when B-Face flew off the handle, slowly getting fed up. Eventually, we'd both had enough. B-Face starts shrieking at me again, over what I forget, and when I try, again fruitlessly, to reason with her, she cuts me off, accusing me of not letting her talk during these discussions. I foolishly reply as gently as I could, "I'm letting you talk now." Her response, "Oh, you're letting me talk now? I don't need your effing permission to speak," and more insults. The revenge. F this, I've had enough. Now, I'm a polite person, but I was politer back then. The worst swear word I would say was hell. I looked B-Face dead in the eye and yelled as loud as I could, "Would you stop screeching at me?" My word choices aren't going to be perfect. I'm not a effing diplomat. She actually shuts up and stands there, bug-eyed, as I unload the bitterness of months of abuse into her, calling her out on her atrocious treatment of me, and admittedly a few choice names as well. When I stop, she looks at Dad and says, "I've had enough of this disrespect. Kick her out or we're getting a divorce." Dad looks at her, then me, and says, "Grab a change of clothes and your medication, kid. We're out of here. See you in court, B-Face." She just stares at him stupidly in complete disbelief as he walks to the bedroom to pack. She literally could not fathom that he would choose his daughter of 18 years over his SO of 6 months. We pack, grab my cat, and GTFO. As we're looking for a motel, I demand to know why Dad didn't tell her to GTFO, as there's no way she can afford that trailer at minimum wage. He told me part of it is I just wanted out. I couldn't take her yelling at you anymore. If you hadn't yelled at her tonight, I would have. The other part, you're right, she can't afford that trailer by herself, and we all know it. What? Holy crap. My dad's a nice person and hates confrontation, tries to resolve everything as peacefully as he can, even if it means grabbing the short end of the stick, and by doing just that, he effed her over. After maybe a week at most, we'll be moving back into our cozy little apartment complex that's close to everything, where the staff loves us, while she's going to try to stay afloat out of pride and fail. And fail she did. When we came to get the rest of our stuff a few days later, we found a very unhappy Cuttlebug in a kennel. B-Face did not like for Cuttlebug to be kenneled. We also noticed that the kennel had a removable bottom for easy cleaning. Cuttlebug had shoved it out and crapped on the floor. A few months after the incredibly volatile on her part divorce, B-Face was unable to keep up with her bills and had to quit her much-loved crappy job to move in with her son, his wife, and their 3 kids, all under 7, over 300 miles away. A year later, she sent Dad an email telling him she was doing well. His response, "Why the F do you think I would care?" She never responded. I love my dad. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.